Hello, everybody. Hello. Hi to everybody in the chat. Welcome to the members. Big thank you to the mods. Today we got Nancy, and I know Mama Opal is here. Thank you, ladies, so much. We got so much to go over, you guys. I'm Natalie. This is Scientology Life After a Cult, where I talk about the Scientology news that has the internet buzzing. We talk about my time in the cult, 35 years. More importantly, I got out with 3 generations of my family. And I do different videos throughout the week. So when you hit the subscribe button, be sure to set that notification bell as well. And everybody who's already here, if you would please go over and show some aloha to that like button, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We are going to talk about some protest news. We've got Rebecca Minkoff back in the news. She is the Scientologist who is taping for the Real Housewives of New York. We've got some new protest locations being unlocked as Scientology scrambles to find places to do the recruitment, being it's not happening right outside their organizations. So yeah, welcome everybody from Marilyn's channel called Coffee, Cults, and Crafts. Marilyn, I am like the worst. I'm always like Marilyn, but Coffee, Cults, and Crafts. Great to see you guys here. Love to see you. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's see. Let's kick it off here with, and speaking of, actually, my first clip up is Marilyn from Coffee, Cults, and Crafts. So what a coinky dink that is. That's great. All right, let's take a look. Marilyn did an interview with the SP chef, with Samuel. I love Samuel. I think you guys do too. And I feel like he's most known for saying, "Hello, darlings," but only in the way that Samuel can. He is a chef. He shares his story of being in the Sea organization and how he became a chef. I've had him here on the channel and just absolutely adore chatting with him and hearing his story. And Marilyn did an interview with him, and it was great because it's really fun. My channel, I wanted to call it Scientology Life After a Cult because I think it's important as well, too, to share the stories of, okay, what happened after? We hear a lot about what happens when you're inside Scientology, but what also happens after. And Samuel does a great job of sharing that story. Let's take a look at a clip from Marilyn's channel, Coffee, Cults, and Crafts, and her chat with the SP chef.
Didn't have any school completion. I didn't do any apprenticeship. I didn't study or anything like that. I was painfully aware that I didn't have anything. I didn't know what to do. So I thought, well, I just, if you don't know what to do, just do the usual. So I decided to start working in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And then while I was working in the kitchen, I received a letter stating, "Mr. Zuli, you have to go to military because in Switzerland, military for all males is obligatory. You have to go." Mm-hmm. So then I went to military for about 10 months and I was stationed in the kitchen. And usually it would work this way, that in Switzerland, if you were to become a chef, you do the culinary school and then afterwards you would go to military. So all the guys in the kitchen, they had just finished culinary school. So they were very fresh with the knowledge and all the know-how and so on and so forth. And they were telling me things. I was like, wow, how fascinating. And that was when I decided, all right, I'm going to go to culinary school. And after I did my military, we didn't have any school completion. I didn't do any apprenticeship. I didn't study or anything like that.
So it's such an interesting story. I know when I chatted with him before, I didn't know about Switzerland and the mandatory military. So interesting to hear. So go ahead and take a look at that interview. They get into like even the secret I never knew about boiled eggs, and it is going to change my boiled egg game. Let me tell you that. He's hilarious and he shares a lot of great info. And I love that they got into actually talking about cooking and stuff too, because I learned a few things for sure. Now let's take a look at, there's a channel here on YouTube called Half as Interesting. It is quite a large channel. And they did a video about Scientology's infiltration into the government and how they were busted and the FBI raid that happened afterwards. It's not a long video, so if you get a chance, go check out the whole thing. You know what? I might even, well, you know what? I have an idea. There's something more I think I want to do with this, but you guys, this is just, let's watch it, then we're going to discuss this.
Which led to the biggest
Hold on, let me make sure we back it up.
Which led to the biggest FBI raid in US history when 156 agents descended on Scientology's Los Angeles office, and in addition to finding e-meters and sci-fi books, they also found 48,000 incriminating documents, bugs, fake passes, lockpicks, secret codes, basically everything you'd find in James Bond's suitcase, except instead of being owned by a secret agent, they were owned by a pretend church that teaches people that humans are ancient aliens living inside of bodies that were evolved from clams. The materials recovered in the raid revealed a ton more insane details about Operation Snow White. That an agent successfully bugged an IRS office where they discussed the church's tax-exempt status, that they'd got agents into the US Coast Guard Intelligence Agency, the DEA, and the American Medical Association, and even that Operation Snow White had branches in over 30 countries with codenames like Project Apple for France, Project Muir for Portugal, and Project Witch for the UK, because what's an international criminal conspiracy without adorable matching nicknames?
It's crazy. We've talked about this on the channel here multiple times, that Scientology still holds, I think, the record for the largest infiltration into the government of any place or time, including one of the largest FBI raids. And it's such an interesting story. I love how they put it together. So go take a look at the whole video when you get a chance. And it's a reminder, too, of if you ever wonder, like, would Scientology really do this or that, right? Something that sounds shady? Yeah, they would. And it's a reminder of some of that. It's creepy as all get out, I got to tell you. Yeah. Hey, Kellycopter. I love Half as Interesting. I just discovered them. I did. And yeah, it blew me away. I'm glad they did that. I'm so glad. I feel like we need a deeper dive into that. I think we really do. We should, you know what? Oh, hey, Aaron. Welcome. Aaron, you or me or us or somebody should just kind of do a rehash of, I think, that whole infiltration situation that this video goes over. Feel free to do it too if you want to jump on it, because I think it's a part of Scientology history and will help people understand their relationship with the LAPD today, right? And other government or city organization that seems to be a little asleep at the wheel when it comes to Scientology. It'll help, I think, help people understand that. Yeah, it will. All right, let's go over to, we're going to take a look at a little Instagram post, because Scientology Albuquerque, oh, so wake up, because you need to be counting this on your statistic of negative press, which I think they count by the inch when it was print media. But now that it's on the internet, I feel like it should be counted by views or something. I don't know how they're counting it, but Scientology in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, is acting a fool. And take a look at this. You know how they keep having these buildings and doing nothing with them, right? It's happening in Clearwater. It's happening in St. Louis. It's happening all over the place. Hey, Liz Gale, great to see you here and love you back. All right. This says, this is from Downtown Albuquerque. That's the account on Instagram, downtown.abq. Next up for the Absentee Landlord of the Decade Award goes to, drum roll, please, the Church of Scientology. Not kidding. 410 Central Southwest was originally built at the Penny's department store, but is better known as its last tenant, the Gizmo store. Scientologists have owned this large 4-story building right in the heart of downtown for about 20 years. And then they're asking if anyone knows the exact date. Scientology is headquartered at Gold Base in Riverside County, California. From what we hear, many people, including the city of Albuquerque itself, have tried to purchase the building, but the church denied every offer. And then it's just brilliant when you get into the comments and see what people think about Scientology and their shenanigans. So that was a very interesting find. And are we really surprised? Are we surprised? I don't think so. I just love that they're getting called out on it. Kimberly said she just got back from Albuquerque last night. Didn't realize Scientology was doing anything there. Yes, so they must be working out of a different building. I did actually go to Scientology Albuquerque years ago when I was in the Sea organization to set up an event. And to be honest, I don't recall where exactly it was, but no, they've been there a long time and have been doing Scientology there a long time. But yeah, Scientology, slumlord, it just goes together. Horrible landlord, horrible steward of the community when it comes to taking care of buildings. I mean, let's be real. Even in San Francisco, there's things coming off the building, and it's a historic building, and they don't seem to be doing anything. We're going to look at something in Los Angeles by Big Blue when we look at a clip from LARA FM that is more signs that Scientology is literally crumbling. All right, let's take a look at growing up in Scientology. Aaron did a video with Jenna. I miss them so much. It was so great to have them here. And it was about friends and betrayal. And it was super interesting because to look back on these relationships in Scientology and compare them to ones out of Scientology and what those changes are, I just find fascinating. Let's take a little look.
I just considered that I was a Sea Org member first. And there were people I was friendly with, but I always put the mission first and the organization first and the job first. And so, I mean, if someone were to actually write AKR on me, they definitely were not my friend.
Right.
Definitely were not my friend.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. And I guess it says betrayal always hurts no matter what. But was it worse outside or in there? I guess it was maybe worse when I was in there because that would be the first time it ever happened to me, you know? So,
well, and also it's not like you can just get rid of one friend and find another. The selection pool is very small. So in some respects, it is worse inside because
that's such a great point. And, you know, that's something that I never really thought about is how limited you are in Scientology, especially in the Sea organization, of who you can be friends with, who you can have a relationship with. Did you ever think about it this way? Like whatever state you live in, you meet your partner, or you meet somebody who's potential partner material, and, you know, you're kind of like, you're limited, but you're not limited. I mean, these days with the internet, and sounds like people, I mean, you know, you can make almost anything happen even over a distance, but you're still, it just seemed limiting. Now bring that down even more into the Sea organization, and you're only allowed to connect with somebody in that way that's within your sphere. So if you're in a higher organization than someone, you're not allowed to like date up that way or marry up, because let's be honest, people in the Sea Org don't date, they marry. You marry, you divorce, you marry, you divorce. I saw that happen a lot. Liz Gale says, my bestie, when I was 9, had her PC folders and showed me the knowledge reports and overts and withholds we wrote up about each other, even when we were that young. They teach it young, like it's normal. You're so correct. For those that don't know, a knowledge report in Scientology is what it sounds like. It says knowledge report on the top and then who it's on, and it's sent to a bunch of people. You're supposed to send a copy to the person you wrote it on, and you're basically ratting them out for whatever it is. Whatever you feel was a violation of L. Ron Hubbard policy that they violated, or maybe they're just rubbing you the wrong way and you just kind of want to stick it to them and report them for some utter nonsense. And Liz makes a good point. The fact that that is done so young and you're indoctrinated as a young child that is actually what you should be doing is just sick, because how can you develop, and this is why they do it, how can you develop true connection when you have to edit and filter yourself out of fear that this other Scientologist might report you to Scientology, and then you get in trouble and you have to pay money for interrogations and all of that? It becomes almost impossible to have a real connection. And to find that connection outside of Scientology, and especially outside of the Sea Org, is such a beautiful thing. It's just fascinating. So when you get a chance, go check that out, because I loved it. I was like, yes, I was yelling at my television. Yes. All right, let's go take a look at Confident Chris on L. Ron Hubbard Way, because you know how there's those planters there, and Chris was saying it's like they're moving them or they're replacing them. They're doing something with them. Hold on, let's pull that up and take a look at that. This is right off L. Ron Hubbard Way. And again, this is Confident Chris.
We're replacing this for this. We're going 2 for 2. We're going tile for tile.
Yeah, see, so it's like they're replacing them. They're bringing things out, moving things away.
Ah, damn. I just saw a girl with the Dianetics, man. She just went right in. Do you guys see her? You guys might have seen her. Oh, look at the Dianetics. Look at the Dianetics. Look at the Dianetics. Dianetics and chill.
Dianetics and chill. I love that. Okay, so Peter is saying they are replacing the cement mix with planters. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on that. Now, Enri over at Big Blue, we're gonna take a look at a stream from Scientology Audit Streets, LA, where Enri shares a ritual he witnessed. He described it as a ritual. And yeah, let's listen to what he says. And we're going to talk about this because this is totally a thing.
Building by Catalina, there is a giant room, and they do this ritual for bullbaiting to essentially desensitize when somebody comes to confront you. It's so that you don't have any emotional reaction or facial expression. And part of the exercise they were doing is they had them pass one of the gym medicine balls, and somebody was just yelling at them like out of their mind. They were in a circle, somebody on the outside of the circle.
You got this on video?
I couldn't because of the grills, but you could hear everything.
Oh
that
my
was going
God.
on.
So if you can't, he's basically talking about how he came upon, he doesn't have it on video, but you can hear it on his video on stream, where basically it sounds like the Sea Org members are doing some kind of a drill while somebody's bullbaiting them. He said they were yelling profanities at them and they were passing this ball around. And I mean, that's kind of, I know about doing those bullbait drills like in a course room kind of thing, or when you're drilling something, but this sounds next level. This is not like something that I've heard before. And I wouldn't put it past them to take something that L. Ron Hubbard did and created that was harmful and to just like harmful 2.0 it. You know what I'm saying? Like add another twist to it. And that sounds like that's what this was. Bullbaiting is desensitizing someone to abuse, to be able to take it and put up with it while not looking like they're upset. Because think about it, in Scientology, why would you not want to train your members to look like it's not bothering them when you're completely screwing them over, right? You have to have the ability to like kind of like not show that emotion. And I don't, and I shouldn't even call it an ability. It's seen as an ability in Scientology to be able to keep your TRs in your training routines and not have a reaction. Well, that just becomes a breeding ground for abuse of all types. It really is. It really does desensitize people. And they do this with children from a young age and all throughout adulthood. So interesting that they're continuing to do that on L. Ron Hubbard Way. Let's take a look at LARA FM was out there. And speaking of cracks in Scientology and Scientology crumbling, look at this.
Like, how many years has Scientology, the Sea Org, neglected either the watering system or the drainage from all the like overflow over the weather? And what is going on here? Is there going to be some like collapse in their secret tunnels below?
Right? That's what I'm wondering. Did you see the size of that crack? I don't know if I just missed it, but I've not seen that. I've not seen that in a stream. I was like, oh my goodness. And isn't it over where they were overwatering because of the occupation for like 24 hours? And Enri said, what was it, like 150,000 gallons of water that they wasted? Girl. Something is up there. That looks bad. That looks really bad. All right, let's take a look at Jacob HARKEY's stream where he and Mindy Willens and we in LA headed to another location to protest Scientology. I do believe this is in Orange County, Lake Forest. I think that it is. Let's take a look at this. I love that they're branching out because let's be honest, you guys know that it's getting harder for Scientology to recruit at their own locations. They are going to go out into other areas. We're seeing Scientology recruitment happening at more events in different neighborhoods. We're seeing new staff members who are being sent out to hand out Scientology propaganda. These people are not going to give up. They're not going to go, oh, there's protesters, I guess we're just going to shut everything down. No, it might look like it because they're not recruiting there. They're going to go elsewhere. They're like roaches. Hard to kill, except they don't fly. We had flying roaches in Hawaii. That was always so nasty. I heard Florida had some nasty ones. But point being, they're going to move on. This is what they do. And I'm glad that people are branching out and finding where this recruitment is happening and shutting it down and not taking the pressure off of them, that we're not going to just let you go around and trick people into joining your cult.
We in LA, Ever, as well as Mindy, and we're standing outside of the Dianetics mission. What is it called? Mission of South Coast Dianetics? Something like that? South Coast Dianetics? Something like that.
It doesn't say Dianetics on there, I don't think.
Oh, does it actually just say Scientology up there? Okay, okay. Well, we're at the mission in Lake Forest. Mindy already went in for 30 minutes.
And I recorded it, and I'll put it up later. I didn't stream it because I didn't want the other orgs who are absolutely watching us to alert them.
We in LA, Ever.
Love that. I did not see that on, I don't know if, no, did Minnie? I don't think she streamed that, but that's so interesting that she went in there and was able to like have some conversations and stuff. So I'll have to check that out. Amber has a question. Natalie, do you remember the guy that used to live in the boiler room? He used to wear a white jumpsuit and flip-flops, and he would come out and get his food from the dining room. Totally. There were 2 of them. And didn't one of them pass away? They were these older, completely elderly. And one of them, he was the remaining one. You're right. One of them had like longer hair and I thought a beard, but then the other one was taller. I think he's the one that wore the white jumpsuit. Totally remember that. I remember thinking it was weird because people told me like they lived in the boiler room, which seemed very odd. But I remember, if anybody remembers their name, that's a little throwback Sea Org trivia. If you remember the names of those guys that lived in the boiler room at the PAC base back in the 80s, throw it up in the chat. And if you're catching this on the replay, let me know in the comments because I'm very curious because I don't remember their names there. Okay, so while they were there, they actually went and approached the building. It is a Scientology mission, which is a smaller Scientology organization that is supposed to feed people into the bigger organization. L. Ron Hubbard said every Scientology organization needed 10 missions around it. I don't think that even happened. I mean, are there even 10 missions total now? I don't know. I feel like there's not, but I don't know. What do I know? Okay. Actually, I know a lot. I know that there probably is barely 10 missions, definitely in California. There internationally, there probably are more, but definitely not 10 around every Scientology organization. All right, take a look at this.
Well, I'm not sure. Oh, hello. Hi.
I'd like you guys to leave.
You'd like us to leave, please? Yeah. Okay. We were just curious if we could talk to somebody, but no, you don't want us to stick around.
That are about our neighbors and friends are actually Scientologists, and they sent.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah, we'd like you to leave. We'd like you to leave. At least they answered the door. At least they were there. So interesting that they're out there. There are so many places that I guess a quick Google search of Scientology near you or Dianetics would turn up if there's a mission or a small group. They tend to not keep the same hours as a Scientology organization because nothing's happening and they don't try as hard to pretend that lots is happening. I always considered missions when I was in Scientology to be like, that's like Scientology light. You get to keep an easier schedule, right? It's just like, whereas at the main organization, things were more intense. And then when you go up to the C organization, they become even more intense. Marlene, I love this idea. Let's get Natalie to at least 808 likes. I love it. 808 is the area code for Hawaii. For those that don't know, thank you for the aloha. And thank you for the reminder for people to hit that like button as well. All right, let's go take a look at Crazy Love is Love out in Salt Lake City. People, Scientology went and put up signs now about the way to happiness. And you're not going to believe what it says. Given the onslaught that they are facing with the exposure about how children are treated and raised in Scientology and Scientology auditing and the damages that it can do, interrogations and all that, they just like to double down. Like they think that, oh, you know what? The way to happiness says love and help children. That's what we do. That's what we're doing here. We're just going to put up a sign. We're going to put up a sign and that's going to make it real.
Love and help children. Okay. Well, we're going to let them know how they don't help children and how their sign is fraudulent.
And this is new. This is new Scientology sign tech. Maybe they're getting tired of the protesters coming out with their signs all the time and they feel a little left out. And maybe that's why they're doing this. I don't know. I'm sure it's just for their idea of combating what Scientology calls an enemy line. An enemy line would be like Scientology traffics children. That would be an enemy line to them. So to combat that, they're saying, no, we love and help children. And there are other way to happiness precepts there. And I mean, it's just not helping, right? If you say you're in Utah, you're minding your own business, you walking down the street, and you already know, like, oh yeah, Scientology, that is a cult. It is a human trafficking organization. It is a business every day, all day. And you see this sign and it says, love and help children, the way to happiness. You're not going to go, oh, they love and help children. Oh, it's okay now. It's okay. Abraham, you're right. It should be called the way to depression and isolation. 100%. And yeah, they love and help no one. That's right, into Scientology. And Peter makes a good point here too, but there's no such thing as children according to Scientology. That's right. L. Ron Hubbard said children are just beings, big beings in little bodies. They're children when it's convenient for Scientology, when they can use them in some way, some public relations way. That's when children, like, oh, we have children, we help children. We're seeing right through you, Scientology. We see right through you. All right, let's take a look at this. This is, where is this? Is this San Francisco? No, this is a Club Brain Fog. So this is in San Francisco. She's out, I do believe, at another location, because same thing, Scientologists are going further away from the organization to try to still recruit people into Scientology.
And that'll just make me talk more, so I don't get to have any interference. So. La 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 la. Hi. Sorry. Hi, who are you? So we're going to be out there. So there's going to be something set up. Ooh, this is cool.
She's just so funny and actually goes and has this interaction kind of with them. We're going to take a look at another clip where one of them actually speaks to her and claims that he's being followed.
The last 45 minutes.
I'm in a tourist area.
The same path I'm going. Isn't that coincidence? I call it stalking, don't you?
You can call it stalking, but if you try to turn me in, they're going to say that I was in the equivalent of Times Square, so I can follow you all I want. If I was, I'm not following you. I'm trying to figure out what Pantone color your vest is. I'm an artist, dude. I'm sorry, you get mad at that. Nobody's figured it out yet. It must be a patented color. So, I can call you Kapoor. He copyrighted black. I'm so sorry if I messed up your day.
And how, it's like pot kettle. You want to talk about stalking people, Scientology? I mean, really? Remember the clip we just saw earlier? You infiltrated 136 government agencies. You put thousands of Scientologists in these positions to spy and steal documents and stalk and follow people. Hello, Paulette Cooper. Do you remember that Scientology? You literally stalked her in every legal definition of the word. So it's hilarious that because somebody who is live streaming and protesting Scientology and showing your recruitment tactics from a distance in a public place, that's stalking. You really want to play the stalking card on that? Well, we're just going to have to remind everybody, I think, about how Scientology has a history of stalking and harassing their critics. So yeah, total pot kettle. It's ridiculous. Let's take a look. We actually saw this yesterday. We covered it. Confident Chris heard that there was Scientology recruitment happening at this market. He went there, shut it down. While he was there also, he was letting them know that Scientology is how they target the Latino community. This is something that we've seen over and over and over again. They want to target who they consider to be more vulnerable people in terms of maybe who, especially if you're from another country and you want to stay here and you can get a religious visa and then they hold your passport and it's a whole thing and now you're stuck in this cult. That is a tactic, and that's often why they're going after the Latino community. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. It's in Spanish, but you kind of get the point. He's letting them know how they target these communities.
Ellos trabajan 110 horas a la semana, por eso pararon desde Hollywood vengo ahorita. Y estos quieren reclutar a nuestra gente. Les encantan los latinos. Okay. Ajá. Se llama Cienciología, si quieres buscarlo. El autor de ese libro es un delincuente. Bien.
¿Cómo se llama?
L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah.
This was right before they actually shut it down. They packed it up and they were out of there. And it is totally a thing that they do that they target minority communities that way because they think they have a better shot. In fact, in that clip, I think it was Club Brain Fog who had a conversation with one of the body routers, as Scientology calls them, and was calling him out on, why are you only handing these out to minority, to people of color? Like we see you, we see what you're doing, what you're trying to do, right? They're trying to go after what they think is low hanging fruit. And and really, when you think about it, like so many, especially in the Latino community, like others, family is huge. Can you imagine like going in there and trying to convince people to break up, to disconnect from their family? I don't know why they think this is a good idea. It is not. It is not. And we see you, Scientology. Now, JDSA was over in, I think he was in San Antonio, which again, this is a Scientology mission, and he was out there protesting. Let's take a look.
I'm considering buying a pretty high-end projector. Why? Because, yeah, why not? Yeah. They're able to read it all the way over there at that corner. That just goes to show I did pretty good with this sign today.
He did. Jay also talks about this projector idea. There was a YouTuber who projected, it was Scientology and then sucks under the blue building some time ago. Was that Reckless Ben? I don't totally recall. But anyways, he was talking about getting a projector that would do that. I think that's a fun idea. I'd be interested in seeing that. I'd watch that. I would totally watch that. I thought that was great. So love seeing him out there. And again, at a Scientology mission. So I love that there are people out there live streaming and who are choosing to protest Scientology and showing up at these different locations, because they do exist, and we're going to see more and more efforts by them to make up for what they're losing right out in front of their buildings. So let's take a look. Let's go to Chicago. Windy City Thetan Watch. He actually spots, we had this conversation. It might have even been with Aaron. Were we talking about the different colors of uniform and trying to figure out, okay, is gold a staff member? Is silver a Sea Org member? What differentiates the colors of the vest? I don't know. All of them are just not good, but take a look.
Anything positive to share about the church? So this is interesting. Is that the silver back? Because we see the gold back more often than not on the vest. And today at the end of Natalie's stream, Aaron and Natalie were speaking about uniforms and the colors of uniforms. That was a powder blue or...
Yeah, there are the different colors. I'm still not totally clear on what they are. We should ask somebody who wore the uniform. They would probably know. So if you're an ex-Scientology staff member and you know what these different colors mean, tell us in the chat, tell us in the comments, or, also email me, Natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. Thank you, everybody who, by the way, who keeps sending clips and what's catching your eye. I appreciate that. It helps a ton. And again, you can email those to Natalie@lifeafteroccult.com. So then Windy City spots a new body router, a new Scientology recruiter. Remember, we talked about this. They are going to pour on the coals. Do you pour coals on the fire or fire on the coals? You pour coals on the fire, I think, or gas. They're making a bigger fire. They're trying to. They're trying to get something started with people who don't want them there in the first place. But they're going to bring in more people. They might even try to bring staff or Sea Org members from other areas into places like Chicago and San Francisco, where they think they have more of a chance of doing something with Scientology. So Wendy, let's see here. Let's take a look at this new body rider out there in Chicago.
Anything positive to say about the church?
There he is.
So he is coming back from handing out flyers. He had a stack of flyers. I don't know what the stack of flyers was, though. That would have.
Interesting. This is just, it's so interesting timing to me that protesters are finding their way to different other Scientology organizations and where they're trying to recruit, while Scientology is bringing in new staff members who are probably from other areas to try to, create more business and out-create what's happening and the impact. And it really tells you the impact that these protests are having on Scientology in terms of shutting it down for people who are going, want to go in. Because it's not just the people that Windy City or other protesters approach and say, hey, that's a cult, did you know, and lets them know. It's not just that. This is then viewed on the internet by so many more people who may or may not know that. So it just has such a domino effect. A conversation with one person can impact literally hundreds of thousands of people who might see that. That's just the beauty of it. Okay, let's take a look at, you guys know Chad over in Chicago. He is a staff member there that Windy City Thetan Watch has had a few interactions with. And Chad went to hand out some Scientology flyers. And spoiler alert, he did not get any handed out. Here's the interesting thing to me, though, when I was watching this. Windy City, if you're watching, I was watching a few clips in your video with Chad here. I think he might have been a decoy, so that other people can go out. And I saw Windy City Thetan Watch had on his YouTube channel, looking for other people to go protest with who may want to do this with getting flyers back. I think that's a really cool idea, because that's what they'll do sometimes, is try to send somebody out to throw you off, to get you out from in front of there. It's always hard to tell. Regardless, it's still fabulous, because he was out there with Chad, who was just oddly standing there.
L. Ron Hubbard reminds us the best way to control people is to lie to them. So unfortunately, I do consider you a victim. You've been lied to. I do think you believe in what you're saying. It's just that you believe in a fallacy. So, is there a reason you're approaching me?
It's weird that he's just standing there. He's not even trying. There's somebody, hand out your promo. Does he think that Windy City's just going to go away, or was he a decoy? I don't know. But something to keep an eye on when you're out there, because it doesn't look like he's really doing anything productive. And I wonder why he doesn't have a full uniform. Maybe it's being ordered. I don't know what the deal is there. What's up with that? Scientology, where's his uniform? Let's go take a little look in Denmark. We've been loving watching what's happening with L. Ron Hub cult and Scientology up north, where they're out there protesting, and they got some cam back. Now, you can't, in where they are in their country, you cannot just videotape people and put it on the internet in the same way that you can in a public place here. So you don't always see what they're talking about, but listen to this. This is just great.
Oh, somebody's filming us. Look.
Yes, but is that the...
I mean, I cannot film him. Somebody's literally filming us. You want to come over and talk to us?
Hi, come and talk to us.
It's fine, you can come.
Are you
I mean, that's
for real?
I mean,
he's totally videotaping them. A little bit of cam back there from Scientology. I love that she got up to go talk to him too. I thought that was fabulous. All right, let's talk about a little bit of Rebecca Minkoff news. And you guys, So this is Airmail, which did an amazing, very lengthy article, which, to be honest, I want to do a whole separate video about this because there's just so much here. There's so much here. But the gist, like the highlights that I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, darn it. Is this let's see here. Start what? Read your first issue and oh no, I'm not paying for this. Okay, so I pulled it up earlier. Basically, Rebecca Minkoff, you guys know, is, and I'm going to get it pulled up where I have it. And like I said, I'm probably going to do a whole separate video on this. Rebecca Minkoff is the daughter of Dr. Minkoff, who was involved and held responsible to a degree. He had to pay money. I think it was $100,000 settlement in the Lisa McPherson situation and lawsuit. And now there's a wrongful death lawsuit regarding Whitney Mills, who was a young realtor. She was a Scientologist, unfortunately, in Clearwater, who tragically unalived herself after Scientology kept her from getting mental health treatment. And you're going to be hearing more and more about that. But this article really goes into Rebecca's family and her ties to Scientology and how apparently this might surprise you, but the work environment that people worked in for them felt unsafe, antagonistic. Employees were being mistreated. It was like a whole thing. And you read it and you're like, well, this is not surprising. And I love that there are media outlets now starting to do even more of a deeper dive into the Minkoff family and their ties to Scientology, and that it's already so much is starting to come out, and this thing hasn't even aired yet. Can you imagine when they air the Real Housewives of New York, the parts that they're taping now that involve Rebecca Minkoff? Ooh, I just think it is a whole thing. So I think I'm going to end up doing a separate video about that to go through it because there is a lot there. And I want to talk about the mindset of why a Scientologist thinks they can get away with this and the commonalities between that and how Scientology operates themselves, because they all follow L. Ron Hubbard's policy. So why would it be any different? If you're a Scientologist and you're running a business, you're going to follow the same policies within a Scientology organization. And many of them are outright abusive, not to mention illegal. So we're going to talk about more of this. And we're waiting for this to, I think it's fantastic. I hope they keep her on the show because of this Scientology scandal and her family's connection to 2 deaths of Scientologists. There might even be more, is going to be, if they don't bring it up outright on the show, every blogger, YouTube channel, other content creators are going to be talking about this, which means a whole new audience out there in the Bravo universe will be exposed, those who don't already know about Scientology and the abusive tactics and what happens. So like I said, I think I'm going to get into doing another video there. The boobologist. Thank you so much for that super chat. And I know you mean aloha. Aloha, Natalie. I'm driving from Palm Springs to northern San Diego right now, trying to convince my hubby to stop by the base to break out Bob Ferris. My hubby isn't buying it. Good thought, though. That would be so nice if we were able to do that. Let's see. Here we go. Sweet Home Management. Thank you for the super chat. The ICOC is really bad to my friend too. My friend just got out. Thank goodness. I will be starting a channel just for them. Also, we need more people to video the Atlanta Scientology building. Thank you for the stream. Oh, okay. And you have to tell me, what is the ICOC? I'm going to make the assumption that it's some other type of cult, but actually I don't know. I don't know what it is. So if somebody can tell me in the chat or tell me in the comments what that is. James is asking, I always wanted to know, shy to ask, do women fake sarcasm? I don't know. Fake sarcasm. How would you fake sarcasm? Sarcasm in itself is almost, I don't know. I need a point of reference there. You got to give me more. You got to give me more information there so I understand that. Now, I want to talk to you guys about something, and it is something that is serious. So anybody who's not paying attention, focus. So in our community, in any community, There, especially something like this, where you're dealing with people who have gotten out of a high control group, right? Whether you're an ex-Scientologist, maybe you're a never-in that has dealt with some level of trauma and you feel a connection to many of us in the ex-Scientology community, because trauma is trauma at the end of the day. And I know how healing it can be because I've experienced it myself. When you can connect with other people and hear their stories, but also how they overcame, how they didn't just survive after, but some people are even able to thrive, right? It's an ongoing, often when you leave something like Scientology or an abusive relationship or another high control group, it can be 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, right? Yet so many people still show up, and so many of you who've never been in Scientology, and you are the change that is creating so much of a larger impact and amplifying the voices of the victims of Scientology. But at the same time, many of you come from so many different backgrounds and are so vital to what's happening here. Because again, you outnumber the ex-Scientologists, you outnumber the Scientologists, let's be honest. It is a community. And a community is a place for people to come together where they can feel supported. That is the idea. And within this community, there's been some allegations. And right now, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. They're allegations. I've not seen a bunch of receipts on it yet, but I hear that they exist. And that's why I want to talk about it and kind of bring this up now. Someone who's been in our community is being accused of some very serious things. And there are multiple women who are coming forward about this. And I believe them, because I think you need to stand with the victims. And there's going to be more coming out about this. Like I said, I don't have receipts. I don't have a whole thing planned. I only know what I've just been being told and I've been hearing. And I'm very disturbed by it. And I think that we need to talk about it. And I'm going to say that at this point, right, there are allegations. I think just legally we have to say that. But I'm going to tell you, Louis Repetto, who is an ex-Scientologist in our community, is being accused of some serious allegations in terms of sexual harassment and other crimes of that nature. And I don't know what's going to become of it. I think really the only reason I'm even bringing it up right now is because I want those victims to know. I want anybody who's been affected by this or, by his alleged actions. And I need to say that. I will tell you straight up personally, putting my hat aside as doing a YouTube channel where I try to maintain some, not go with my own bias all the time. But I believe them, and I want them to know that they're supported, and that I don't know of anyone that supports or condones any type of predatory behavior. This is not the place for it. Nowhere is it the place for it. Whether it is him or anyone else in this community, this is not the place for your shenanigans and sending around your inappropriate photos and communication. It is by nature sometimes in a community that you meet people and then, maybe you date or you fall in love. That is different. Unsolicited doing this or doing it where you're making people feel uncomfortable is just not okay. So if you were one of those people who's been affected by this and who's dealing it right now, I want you to know I can speak for me. I support you. I can speak for, well, really I can't, but I'm going to speak for the ex-Scientology community here. We support you in this, whatever you need to do to find healing or seek justice. And again, right now I'm saying they're allegations because that's just what we need, what we need to do. But there's been enough people coming forward. And I feel like I've heard enough to know that these are people who need to be supported in our community. And I think a very clear message needs to be sent that you're not doing this here, anyone. So if you have any ideas, if you're someone else even, knock it off. It's not happening. This is not the place. This is a place for healing. Many of the people in this community have already experienced trauma and unfortunately already experienced trauma in that area when it comes to SA or harassment. So to further double down by victimizing people who've already experienced that is a next level, allegedly, sick and not okay. And that's not going to be tolerated. So if you guys have any questions for me about it, let me know. But to be honest, I don't know a lot about it. I've not spoken directly to to the victims. But from what I'm understanding, it's, that's what it is. That's what I know. And like I said, it's allegations at this point, but I think that I want people to know, hey, if you're a victim and this happened to you, we stand with you, and it's not okay. And it's not being tolerated, no matter who you are, whether you're somebody who's never been in Scientology or you're an ex-Scientologist. Absolutely. Yep. Stasia, no predators welcome. I think that is kind of the message at the end of the day. And, it's something that's, you're going to be hearing more about it. We'll be hearing more about it. Marilyn saying it's happened to several women in our community. Not okay. Not okay. Anybody, like I said, I really want to be clear about this, whether it's Lou Repetto or somebody else. If you're even thinking of doing this, or you're doing stuff like this in this community, knock it off, because it's not going to be tolerated and it's going to be exposed. And again, I'm not talking about like you meet somebody and you fall in love or you date. Wanted, right? Relationships, bonding, stuff like that happens. I'm talking about, you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't think I need to be more clear about that. Let's see. Yep. Xeno free, hashtag stand with the victims. Absolutely. And Fluffer Squirrel. Yeah. No one's above the law. It's not a cult. It's not a cult. We can talk about it. It's not a cult. These are things that it's like, especially being that it's already, I don't know, was I the last one to hear about it? It kind of feels like it a little bit, but I've also been, dealing with what's been happening in my life, but finding out about this now, I'm just like, no, this is not happening here. Asen, I stand with the victim. That kind of behavior is a huge no. I agree. It's never okay. Lily says, I'm sorry to those affected by this. And whoever those people are, I hope that you feel that we're not okay with this. And anybody that is, I don't think would have, that would be here, or at least would be saying it. Kim says more than one. That's outrageous. One is outrageous. Exactly. And my understanding is we are allegedly talking about several, but I agree with you completely. You're right. One would be enough. It's one too many, but the fact that there's several. Now, at the same time, having said that, right? Like, let the victims of this who are deciding to take whatever actions they're going to take for healing or for justice, that is, let them do that. That will be sorted out by them. It's not going to help anybody to go and, go after Lou Repetto, or, what I'm saying, like go over and you don't need to let them handle it. I think too, that he will get the message that it's just not okay. It's just not okay. It's not okay here, and it's not okay anywhere else. Get some help. It's just not okay. Something is wrong. You need to get some help. And yeah, don't exactly. OOP Media, we're talking about sending photos of your wee-wee. Don't do it. Exactly. Unless you were in a consensual relationship, right? Where you're both, that is your consensual thing to do. It's just never a good idea. Public service announcement. I cannot speak for every single woman, but I think it's safe to say, you guys tell me in the chat, tell me in the comments, to say, we don't want unsolicited photos of anywhere of your body, especially your private areas. No, I don't know why this is even a thing. We've since digital media and photos, and even before that, I'm sure you hear about this. This is not unique to our community either. This is something that happens every day, online, offline, unfortunately. And honestly, I've never been able to fully wrap my head around it. Now, have I sent some sexy photos? Heck yeah, I did. I love doing that with Tony. We were in a consensual relationship. He wanted those photos. So I'm not even knocking, like, right, if that is your thing in your relationship or with a consensual partner. I'm just saying we're talking about something that was unwanted, right? it's very different. But if you are whoever you are and you're looking to connect with people, sending unsolicited photos like that is not the way to do it. It's not. I don't know why people some think, and I don't want to even single out, I mean, vast majority of the time it is men, but there are female predators as well. So I really want to say, like, to people, right? AJ, pro tip, if you get an unsolicited pic from a man like that, reply back with, what is that? It's so small, I can't make it out. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Donna, good question. Are we sure it's real and not a fake page or person? I would say as real as I could be, for me to feel comfortable about even bringing it up and saying who the allegations are being made against. And I feel strongly about doing that because and I'm saying they're allegations, but there's enough of them that it's like, hey, there's a lot of, and this isn't limited to women. Men can be victims of this as well. But we do have a large amount of women in this community. It's just, we do. You look at the analytics of who our viewers are, and they are overwhelmingly women. So it's a community that needs to be protected, and we need to be aware. And if there's something like this going on now, if, whatever happens turns up that, no, this was all completely fabricated and not true, then I will be the first one to say, all right, then, I owe an apology. That wasn't true. But at this point, I'm like I said, it's just people need to know, because it's happened more than one time, allegedly. And the community needs to be protected. And mostly above everything else, the victims of this need to know that we got you. We're a community. This is not okay with us. It's not okay if anybody did it. Anne says, even in a consensual relationship, I don't understand the appeal. Porn pictures versus sexy pictures are different. You know what I mean, Natalie? I do. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I like, it sounds like you guys it does. I think he did delete some social media. I do believe so. And again, this is all right now, it's allegations, but it's enough for me to where I just feel like, my heart is just really anybody who's in this situation of being a victim of this or being targeted by it. It's just so gross. Wolf Machine, I agree with you 100%. Consent is sexy. Absolutely it is. Windy City Thetan Watch, we need to be able to ask the question when allegations arise. If there is no there, then you shouldn't be concerned by the question. Oh, if there's nothing there, you shouldn't be concerned by the question. True. Yep, that's true. That is true. Larry B, sick people, yeah. I even look at it and I still have, I mean, in my mind, I feel like it's something that even the perpetrator, like, you need to get some help on, because this is not right. It's not going to serve you well. It's going to just cause you to crash and bomb your life like it is right now. Yeah. Let's see. And yep, just a northern girl. My brain just broke. What the hell? First time hearing about this, but also I do believe in proof, because if not true, someone's life is irrevocably destroyed. Believe but investigate. 100%. And as much as it would be my preference to have it like 110%, right, wrapped up, like, here are the exact, receipts of that, but there's just so many. And at the end of the day, it's like a choice between, like, letting people know. So it's like, hey, heads up, no, if you're connected to this person, make your own choice and decisions, but we're not letting this happen to anybody else. And also to let people know in general, if you have ideas or thoughts of doing this, you're not going to do it here. You're not. Marilyn, good point. I'm glad we're not in a cult and can talk about things. Exactly. And that's what we're doing now. We're talking about it. ASIN, not consent, is gross. I agree. Dastardly, has he commented on this? Not publicly that I'm aware of, but there has been someone in our community that did confront him about it. Some of you guys are funny. Xenofree, no one wants to be the first to speak out against a born-in or second gen. There's strength in numbers here. And that's even kind of, in my mind, irrelevant because there's nothing different from people never in Scientology or born-ins or second generation or third generation Scientologists. That's our experience in Scientology. But in this community, your voice and you matter as much, if not in ways more, because you're amplifying this message. And it's a community that I know I want to protect, right? We can't control everything. This is the thing too about the internet and YouTube and even SPTV. It's not organized. Anybody can go, hey, I want a YouTube under SPTV. The whole idea was to keep it decentralized. So we didn't get into this whole cult mentality and whatnot again. So when things like this come up, there's no like, who does what? Where do you put this, right? It's just, I know that especially as a woman in this community, I would want to know, even if it was an allegation. This isn't just, like I said, it'd be, the numbers are part of what really, are disturbing. And thank you for everybody who's joining too. Some of you are going to catch up on the replay. I'm reading your comments here. I'm trying to keep up. There's a lot of them. And Natcat, let's not send any hate. Two things can be true at the same time. He did awful things, but he is also a cult of Scientology survivor. Yeah, you're right, Natcat. Those two things can be true. One doesn't justify the other. And I know that that's not what you're saying, but I agree with you in that, yeah, those two things can be true. It just, I mean, I'll be honest, it's heartbreaking. I did a couple of videos with Lou and he has great information from the perspective of somebody highly trained in Scientology. That's a valuable voice. So I'm upset at the alleged actions that he did, but also the loss of that voice to the community because of it. We don't have many people who are massively trained like he was in Scientology to speak on some of these things, and now we're not going to, because no one's gonna amplify, that voice or have him on again or do another interview. I think I had him on 2 times in the past, and the information that he did share about Scientology and the training is valuable. It is, it does help because it helps people understand the mind control. And he was trained in things that were confidential, and you're just not going to find the average Scientologist is not going to know these things. So it's a bummer that way too. It's like now that's, not a resource either, and a voice that's lost to this community as well. So but more importantly, it's about the victims and supporting them, and what they're going through and will go through is really the most important thing for them to find healing and do what they feel that they need to do for healing or justice. Fuzzy pink handcuffs. Natalie, thank you for naming names to keep the community safe. Consent matters. # stand with the victims. Yeah. Joel says you should come up to beautiful Lake Superior. I want to. I haven't been up north. Tony and I went like maybe 2 years ago. It was, I think, it was after he was diagnosed. So he had already started treatment when he first did. But I love it up there. Yep. OOP Media. In this movement, we streamers are making our phone numbers and emails available, and behavior like this cannot be ignored or tolerated. I agree. There's just, what the line is: consensual versus not consensual. It's so clear. It's really black and white in that. Not many things are in the world, but that is consensual, not consensual. And unsolicited is not consensual. You can always ask somebody, hey, I feel like I'm vibing with you. I'd like to send you a picture of my XYZ. And maybe that person says, yeah, I'd love to see that. Okay, knock yourselves out. But you don't just like open with that. You don't. Mexican long hair. Shout out to the mods for holding down this massive chat. I agree. And thank you guys, because I don't doubt that there's going to be a lot of trolling happening right now. But I don't know, right, wrong, or indifferent. It was just like, we just have to talk about it. And like I said, they're allegations, but there are victims. And it's like, we got to support them too. You know, we have to support them more. We have to, it's just, I don't know. I'm a little bit speechless about the whole thing kind of too. Yeah, King's Kid. There are a lot of people who have infiltrated the community. Be aware. You know, and I'm not saying he infiltrated the community. I don't know what his intentions were. I mean, he did, like I said, share a lot of valuable information. It's just not cool. It's just not, it's beyond not cool. These allegations, some of them are criminal. Yep. Consent is cool. All right. I don't think that. Yep. Amy, I saw that too. I think his whole YouTube channel was scrubbed of videos. And honestly, at the end of the day, I'm hoping that he seeks some type of help for this, because it's not, it's not okay. It's sick. And that, maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about it and how people who allegedly prey on others in that way, what type of help is available to correct that behavior. But right now it's, hey, don't do it. We're calling you out on these allegations. And the community, like I said, is so predominantly female that's my whole thing. But I apologize for not having more of a together kind of thing, but I know it's going to come out. And yeah, so there we go. That's that. Now, I always never want to say I'm going to do a second video because I end up not doing it, but I've got a couple things I want to go over. I want to dive into that Rebecca Minkoff thing even deeper. It's time probably for doing a little bit more like of a life update too. Tell you guys what I've been up to behind the scenes here. But I'm hoping to be able to do that. And if I do it, I'm going to have to do it earlier in the day than later, because I got a bunch of, today's my first day kind of getting back to some of my other work as well. But, I'm taking it a day at a time and still kind of an hour at a time at times. Please keep sending me your clips, your timestamps, send me links to articles, Natalie at lifeafteroccult.com. That helps so much in putting these things together. You guys are fabulous. Please make sure you hit that like button, check your subscribe button as well, and the notification bell so you get notifications when I go ahead and go live. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they actually work. All right, everybody. That's all I got for you today. Everybody, I hope you guys get out there and have an amazing cult-free day.